officially kicked off. We're recording right now. Welcome to the Friday Senior Solutions Agency call with Joe Johnson and Jimmy Hernandez. We got a really great call lined up for you. No big announcements, man. We're just going to hop right into today's topic, what Jimmy and I wanted to talk to you about. And you can see the screen here. It says, make final expense great again. Not that it ever wasn't great, but the point we really want to hit home today is, man, what a just incredible opportunity final expense is. We just want to make sure, the insurance business in general, and today we just want to make sure that you really understand like the full potential that this business can really offer you. And if you're doing this business now, if you're in insurance, whether, you know, maybe you're not with Senior Solutions, you're doing something else, maybe you're with us. But I'm just telling you, man, if you're not making it right now, if you're struggling, you're not being profitable, don't give up, man. There is light at the tunnel. Chances are there's probably just a few tweaks or what we say is maybe a few carburetor adjustments before your engine is really, really running good. And I can just tell you this from my standpoint, you know, before I got into the insurance business, I was in the car business and in banking business, and I was making a good living. You know, I was an employee working for somebody else. But what I can honestly tell you is that this business has just absolutely changed my life. I mean, my life is so much better than it was before. And yeah, not just from the income part of it, but just like having the freedom, man, of owning your own business and having my own schedule and get to do whatever the hell I want to do and not have to answer to a boss. It's just absolutely incredible. But you got to put in, you know, definitely got to put in the work. If you are checking us out, you know, this is you're watching this video live right now on YouTube. Maybe if you're not part of Senior Solutions and you want to get more information, please, you know, send me a message. You know, contact me, and please subscribe to our channel. We put out new content every single week, and we put a lot of work into this weekly webinar. I mean, it takes hours to put the content together and what we're going to be talking about. A lot of times I know we refresh and we talk about the same things over and over, but that's part of the learning. Sometimes, you know, you have to hear something 10 or 20 times before it really sinks in. At least, you know, for me, it's that way. But let's get into the content. Jimmy, I know before we get started, you wanted to make a quick announcement about your upcoming broadcast on Monday. Guys, what I can tell you, I've attended Jimmy's webinars, his educational seminars that he does on Mondays. Man, they are jam-packed with quality information. So as an agent, and if you've got clients that you're working with, this is something that you definitely want to refer your clients to as well. So, Jimmy, I'll turn the call over to you real quick so you can plug your Monday call coming up on the 14th.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Well, you know, every Monday I talk about how to build your wealth, and you can see my logo there, my wealth center. And really, it's designed to cover all areas of finance for your personal home. And you know, so join us. It's educational. You'll learn about investing, you'll learn about strategies, you'll learn about insurance, annuities, you'll learn about estate planning, you'll learn about taxes as well. So I mean, tune in. That's a really good show. It's the same time every week, same Zoom code meeting. All you got to do is just go to zoom.us and then join a meeting, click that code, and you're in 6 o'clock Central. So back to you, Joe.
And then once you're registered, you will get the weekly reminders, right?
That is correct. And if you register and for some reason forgot, or maybe you can't make the webinar, the following evening, 24 hours later, you'll automatically receive a recorded copy.
Awesome, awesome. Jimmy, I'm going to keep you with the controls here. I've got this quote that you wanted to talk about. One of my favorite people here.
Yeah, you know, Vince Lombardi, you know, what can we say, right? The man on top of the mountain didn't fall there. And, you know, like Joe was talking about making final expense great again. You know, if you're getting into this business, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't just fall on top of the mountain, right? So unfortunately, it takes a learning curve, and usually learning comes at an expense, right? Either you're wasting time or money, you're getting a lot of rejection. But from that learning curve, if you learn from your mistakes and, you know, make the adjustments, then, you know, you'll be a superstar, you'll be a winner. So
yeah, just to add on top of that too is, you know, when you probably first got into the insurance business, and I'm just reflecting back when I first got recruited into the insurance business, you know, the person that recruited me, it was all like, not hype, I don't want to say that word, but it was, you know, all about how great it is, and oh, you're going to make all this money, and you know, this, that, and you know, and then, you know, I was doing it for a while and I wasn't really having the success that I wanted to have, and I was really getting frustrated. And you know, but I was plugging into all the meetings. And one thing that I still say today, and you know, one thing I tell agents all the time, the thing that I heard, two things that I heard that really changed my mentality, to know that if you're going to be in it to win it, you got to be in it for the long haul, not the short haul. And there was these two things right here. One is, I heard somebody say, listen, this business is simple, but it ain't easy, and it's going to take longer than you think, and it's going to be harder than you think. But if you keep doing the right things every single day, you will not fail. Eventually you will succeed. And I just think in this business and in many businesses, you know, 95%, they say 95% of all small businesses fail, because people quit. I mean, they give up too soon. I see too many people give up probably right before they're getting ready to have a breakthrough. So what we're going to be talking about today is, yeah, making final expense great again. What I think, it's one of the best businesses that you can get into, just because you can get into it without a huge capital investment. You don't need thousands of dollars. You don't need tens of thousands. You don't need millions of dollars to get invested, to get started in this business. So we're going to be going over some, you know, profitability and some of the variables and what some of your fixed costs are. So I think this is going to be a really good video to have recorded and really go back and just and reflect. And sometimes you just got to keep telling yourself, man, I'm in it to win it. I'm in it for the long haul. Joe said it's going to take longer than I think. It's going to be harder than I think, but it's going to be worth it if I just keep doing all the right things. Talk about direct mail leads. I think it was about 3 weeks ago, we introduced, I don't have a slide for it, but we introduced the new lead vendor that I was talking about. For the last 10 years, I've been bitching and complaining about, man, why do we have to pay for leads up front? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a lead vendor that would mail out the leads, and we could get fresh direct mail leads that would come in, and we just pay for them as they come in? And remember, we made that introduction, and we had about a handful, about 5 agents that actually took advantage of it and have already placed lead orders. I was one of those agents. I placed my lead order with our new vendor. This is a copy of the lead. It's the benefit information for whatever state you're in, Illinois, Texas citizens. It's the Walmart gift card lead card. Okay. Well, I got my first batch in, and I just want to give you a little bit of a success story. I went out, I knocked the rust off, Jimmy. I went out and all day, well, not all day. I had a little bit of a late start, unfortunately. I got out about, I think I was knocking at my first door about 9:30, 10 o'clock, because it was about a 35-mile drive to my first door knock, and then I was going to circle back. So it took me a little bit of time, but man, it was awesome, man. I mean, I just got right back into it really, really quick. I got 8 leads that came in. I resolved most of them. One of them I couldn't get a hold of. I door knocked every single lead, left delivery notices on the leads. Of the 8 leads that I got a hold of, actually it was 3 people I met at the door. One lady that I met with, couldn't sell her. She was, just, had the income problem, couldn't fit any. I went all the way down to $17 a month, couldn't fit anything, or I wasn't going to close the deal. The next door that actually got somebody a hold of, the lady she was the caretaker, answered the door. She had dementia. They didn't want to hear about it. They thought it was something else. Knocked on a few more doors. Then I knocked on a door that had a husband and wife, Connie and Dan. They were both 79 years old. Dan was a retired banker. So did my normal door knock, presentation. He was a little bit hesitant. He was like, well, yeah, he kind of said it. I said, listen, I'm here. I put a packet together for you. It's in my car. I said, just give me 5 minutes. Let me go through the information with you. I'll answer any questions you have and get out of your hair. He's like, oh, okay. So I made it seem like lowered the resistance, I guess, and made it sound like it was going to be a quick presentation. So went to my car, got my folder, got in, man, super nice couple. Did the full presentation, went through the folders, did the policy review. He goes, oh, as a matter of fact, we do have policies. Went and grabbed his policies. They had they both had Mutual of Omaha, the guaranteed issue product, that you don't have to answer any questions. They both had 7,000, and they had it for about 10 years. So obviously it's not a situation where you can replace it, but he was definitely thinking about adding more to it. And and they only wanted to deal with Mutual of Omaha. So I was able to I wrote on that one deal, wrote 2 Mutual of Omaha policies. They both, instead of graded, they were able to get level coverage, and we added an extra 5,000 of coverage for both of them. So that one day I made, like, for what I paid for those leads, I made like 3 times the investment on one set. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick, Jimmy, is that out of everybody I talked to, and I got one appointment booked for Monday, I got to reconfirm it. But here's the funny thing. These leads, I just worked them like a regular final expense lead, like any other direct mail lead. And I even handed my clipboard with the card attached, the lead attached to the clipboard to the client, so they could see their own handwriting and explain why I'm here. I'm the state licensed agent who oversees your area. The normal door knock script. Here's what I can tell you. Nobody asked me about the Walmart gift card. Isn't that crazy?
Man, that's something else.
even and they were looking at the card. Like I said, I only really did 2 full presentations, okay? Of the 2 full presentations that I made, neither client asked me about the Walmart gift card, because my thing is like, listen, they didn't send the card in because they wanted a free Walmart gift card. They wanted information about final expense. So my thinking is, I'm not going to bring it up unless they bring it up. And if they do bring it up, then obviously, yes, no problem. Yes, you're entitled to a free Walmart gift card. I'll send in the voucher. And what I'm planning on doing is I'm not going to get them pre-done. I'm not going to carry Walmart gift cards with me. I'm just going to mail it to them. I'm going to mail it to them, and that gives me an excuse to say, Yes, I'll put in the voucher. We'll mail you a free Walmart gift card. And what I'll do, Mr. and Mrs., this is what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Haven't done it yet. Is I'll call you in a few days just to make sure you received your card. So that gives me especially if I didn't sell them, that gives me a follow-up, say, hey, did you get your free Walmart gift card? Maybe gives me another opportunity to get back in the door. So I just wanted to give you a quick update and tell you a little bit about my success story. I think I already have more leads that have come in to work. I'm not sure how many leads I'm going to get total because this is the test drop. With this vendor, they do the mailer. It's basically a test drop just to make sure you like the leads, which I really do. So far, they're awesome. And they want to make sure that you're actually going to pay for them as well. So anyway, I just wanted to give that real quick success story. So if you were hesitant about ordering these leads, if you're a little bit nervous about the fact that it says Walmart gift card, dude, don't worry about it. Just work it like any other lead. Don't even bring it up unless the client brings it up. And then obviously we're obligated. We need to give them the card if that's something that they really are looking for. So I'm going to move on unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, that's amazing, Joe.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Here is the picture. Oh, with you and Richard. And I see a car seat in the background. That must be Desi's old car
Oh
seat.
yeah, I forgot about that. So this is I think this is that not Toyota, Nissan Maxima. Do you remember that car, Joe?
Yeah, I tell you what, those were nice cars.
Well, this is that one that I picked you and Tim up in.
Oh, yeah, that was not a nice car. But in general, those were super nice cars. I love those cars.
But I want to tell the story. You know, I'm even going to go back a little bit before this picture. Richard and I both worked at AT&T in the retail store selling phones. And Richard and I would compete. We were always number one and number two, right? He was my top competitor, and we were very, I'm going to say we talked smack to each other all the time. It was a really, kind of fun environment between me and Richard, and we both had a strong work ethic. You know, at the location we worked at, I think we had about 30, actually, I remember it was 31 agents. And I was either number one or number two on the board, and Richard was either number one or number two on the board. Month in, month out, we always were the top two guys, and we're always on the floor. We're always in front of people. We're always working, and the slackers, they were always in the back. I forgot what they called this room, but there was like a bunch of computers in there, and you would go and like look up their account or solve a problem. You'd go in that, and they were all hanging out in the computer room or the break room, right? But most of the time they're in that computer room, not really working. And me and Richard, we would only go back there if we absolutely needed to be in there. Otherwise, we were on the floor. And that's kind of like the same thing in our industry, right? You're not making money if you're not in front of your customers. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. But you know, I left AT&T kind of for this reason. There was this guy. He came in my last month there. He came in 31 place. He was last place on the board in our store, and I won't say his name. And we both applied for a management position. They didn't even interview me, and they gave it to him. And I was so mad, right? I was like, you know what? It would be different if they at least interviewed me.
Right.
And maybe the guy had better, skills or better management skills. Maybe he wasn't a good salesman, but maybe he had some experience management. I don't know. But I didn't even get an interview, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm out of here, right? So I turned in my notice, and I left. And then I started my own insurance agency. I was already licensed, and I had a previous, I guess you can say, run at insurance. And I started off in the, I guess you can say, Medicare supplement industry, and selling Medicare supplements, final expense, like what we do now, and also annuities. And it was kind of all tied to working what we call the T65 list, right? So I'm just going to kind of throw this out there. So we'd get a list of everybody that was turning 65. We were assigned zip codes, so I wouldn't overlap on another agent, right? So I would work the zip codes, and I would cold call these people, and try to generate, an appointment out of it. And then, so I would make about 300 calls on Monday and 300 calls on Friday to fill my day with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we tried to fill the plan was to fill those 3 days and sell, and maybe a half a day on Saturday. And then whatever we didn't have appointments, we would go knock on doors, right? So you would go knock on those people's door that didn't answer the phone, and then so I did that for a while, and then they're like, well, you know what, you can buy leads. And so these are for people that actually requested the information. I'm like, oh, okay, so these are direct mail leads. So I bought them. They were $45 a piece, Joe. Now
Wow.
they were not exclusive. They were recycled leads. They were B leads
For 45 bucks
for
a pop.
$45. And so
Damn.
I started calling these people, and it was pissing me off because the environment that we were in, there was about 50 agents, and we are all in these cubicles, right? And they're all like next to each other. We're all in the same room, crowded up. And you would hear people talking to the person I just talked to a few minutes ago. And I'm like, I paid $45 for this lead, and this other guy, he's calling them too. Like that, it was making me mad. And ultimately, I quit over that. But I guess you can say I learned the hard way, right? And then
Yeah.
after that, I went to this other company that specialized in IULs, right? So their thing was, okay, we're gonna schedule the appointment for you. You don't have to do any prospecting. All you do is sit in front of people and make sales. I was like,
That
shit,
sounds, yeah, that
good.
sounds good.
So I did that, and like two things. One, the hook to set the appointment was that they would give them a free vacation, right? And
Oh,
it was like a free cruise. So I'm going to say the vast majority of the people had no interest in life insurance. They just wanted that free cruise. The other part about it was the comp rate was really, really low. And so when that didn't work out, that's when I went to AT&T. So, fast forward to this picture. When I left AT&T, I was making okay money. I don't know, making 60,000 a year. I had all the benefits, 401k, dental, health, all the benefits, pension, everything. But I wasn't happy. I was busting my butt. Um, there was too much month at the end of my paycheck. There wasn't enough really, just barely to pay the bills. And
right.
I was very unhappy. I was miserable. And I was sticking around because I thought I was going to work my way up that corporate ladder, and it didn't work. So I said, I'm going to go out, I'm going to start my own agency. And I went out, and I got set up with an IMO, and I had some money in my 401k, so I paid for rent at an office, and started. I was thinking, Joe, that I was gonna do like how do they call it, warm market, and I was gonna talk to all my friends. I was gonna put my top 20 list together, and then I was
Yep,
gonna,
absolutely.
right? So I did all of that, man. And when I ran through all of my savings and stretched it out, where things were so bad between my wife financially, she was mad because she was having to work all these extra shifts to get overtime to kind of help pay the bills, and she wasn't able to do everything by herself. So we were behind on everything. And it got to the point, Joe, where you know, I had to leave. When I say leave, I'm talking about I had to leave the house. You know, we got separated,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I moved in with my dad, who is a longtime final expense agent, right? And I remember talking to my dad, and I'm getting off a little rabbit trail, but I remember saying, well, why are you selling final expense? Those little $40, $50 a month premiums. I can sell, you know, 250, 300, $400 a month premiums. And my
Sure.
dad, yeah, but how many of those do you sell a month? One or two, you know, maybe if I'm
Right.
lucky. My dad goes, yeah, well, I can write 3 or 4 of these in a week, and, you know, and have plenty of time to myself. I don't have to do it full time like you. And I was like, man, 3 or 4 times a week. And then so my dad, you know, did some research, and he was actually retired at that point. And so he found Senior Solutions and Joe Johnson, and, you know, he threw it in front of me one morning at breakfast, and he says, hey, you should check this guy out. And reluctantly, you know, I called, and you know, got to watch Joe's video that he used to do. I don't know if you still do that video. And I was like, man, that system sounds really good. And it really caught my attention. And you know, to be honest with you, right, what really caught my attention was Joe's demeanor. He wasn't huffing and puffing and talking all fast and, you know, talking all this smack. You know, he was just like really calm, very, you know, as a matter of factly, and, you know, like, you know, this is the opportunity. You know, if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not. I was like,
Right.
man, I like this guy, right? So I set up an appointment with what was her name? Maria.
Yeah. Maria. Yeah.
Maria set the appointment for Joe and I to talk, and so Joe tells me about the system. So I get signed up, right? So I get signed up with Senior Solutions. Right after that, my wife calls me, and she says, hey, I need to sell your truck, Jimmy, because we're behind on the bills, and you have a lot of equity in it. I can get about 7,500, get the mortgage caught up, do this, do that. I was so frustrated. I said, come pick it up, right? So she came and picked up the truck. So now I'm on foot. We call it the pata mobile over here, right? So I'm walking around on foot, and then Joe's like, "Hey Jimmy, well, you gonna buy any leads? You know, like this system doesn't work unless you actually do it, you know." And I was like, "Hey, well, Joe, I don't have any money to buy leads." And Joe's like, "Well, of course you don't. That's why you came on board. If you had money, you wouldn't be interested in another opportunity." I was like, okay, well, can you loan me some? You know, can you loan me the money? And Joe's,
I don't remember. Did I loan you any money?
no. Joe's response to me was, Jimmy, I've done this for a while, and I really want to help you. But what I found out is that, when I've done this in the past, people just don't appreciate the value of those leads, and they don't work it as hard. But when you have skin in the game and you have to go buy leads, you're going to go work those leads.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, that makes sense, but I wasn't really happy with the answer.
Sure. Of
And
course
then
not.
so Joe's like, well, do what you got to do, man, to go do whatever you got to do. That's what Joe said. All right. So what do I got to do? I sat around thinking. I said, okay, well, I really know how to trim trees. That's like one of the things that I've had to do here at the house. We have all these big trees, and I know how to chop them down. I know how to trim them. I know how to do all that work, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to go knock on doors, and I'm going to offer to trim trees and see if I can make some money, right? So this was in July, which in Texas is really hot. You're talking about over 100 degrees every day, right? You saw how big or you can see how big I was back then. 100-degree weather. I'm out knocking on doors, trimming trees. I did that for 2 weeks. I put up enough money to buy some overflow leads. There was 33 overflow leads in Corpus Christi. And I
Yeah.
know I'm getting off track, but I think I'm just going to go with this direction. I'll circle back to this picture.
Okay.
But I go and I bought all the leads. And the reason why I bought overflow is because they were already on the ground, meaning I didn't have to wait for the mailers to go out and then for the people to respond and then to come back. These were leads that were already generated, but were over what the lead order originally was, and they were ready to go. So if you buy them, you can get them today and you can go work them. So I bought 33 overflow leads. I think at that time they were like 25 bucks or something. So
Yeah, I think so.
whatever the math is on that. And so I got them like on a Friday, right? And so I'm like, oh shit, I need to read that magic formula, right? So I read all the magic formula in one day. I sorted all my leads out. And by the way, these leads were in Corpus Christi. I'm in San Antonio. That's about a 2.5 hour drive. And I don't have a car, right? So how am I going to get there? So I had to have enough money to rent a car, and have a place to stay. And so my plan was to drive to Corpus, stay one night, work 2 days, get up early, leave early, get there one day, spend the night, and then work the second day and come home. So that was the plan. So I called the leads all day on Saturday, Joe. And then I called Sunday evening the following day, and I was able to book 12 appointments for Monday and Tuesday. I was excited about that. Again, I worked all day Saturday setting appointments, and then I called and followed up on the people that didn't answer or whatever on Sunday, and I was able to book some more. But I had a total of 12 appointments for 2 days. I rented the car, left early. First thing I did was, get me a place to stay, which was this little, I'm going to say this little flea bag kind of a motel, right?
Like a Motel 6 or Motel 8 or something like that.
That would have been nice. This was really run down. I was scared to actually put the covers on me, It was pretty bad, Joe.
Dude, you should have brought your own sheets with.
And all right, I didn't think about that. And so that's where I stayed that night. But I remember knocking on the first door where I had an appointment. The guy wasn't even awake. He came out with no shirt on. His hair was all jacked up. Hadn't brushed his teeth or nothing. And he was a really, really cool old guy. His name's Freddie. And it took me quite a while. I remember I tried to close him about 5 or 6 times, and I wouldn't give up. I remember saying, Jimmy, this is going to set the tone for the rest of the day. So I just kept after it, and it was my first sell. It was a $2,000 face amount, and I think the monthly premium was like $21 or something, Joe, really small. And so I made the sell and I went on to the next one. And so the rest of my 2 days there, I had 9 sits, 12 booked appointments. I don't remember how many of those 12 I actually sat with, because I did do some door knocking in between appointments. I think I had a couple of low shows, so I door knocked, and I picked up a couple extra people that I door knocked. But when it was all said and done, Joe, I made 9 sells. I had 9 apps. Now I was not 100% on my 9 sits, but I had a couple of couples. I think I had 3 couples that I wrote 2 apps in each home. So that was 6. And then I wrote 3 more. So it gave me a total of 9. So like my app to sit ratio was 100%, but I wasn't 100% on closing. Anyway, my annual premium was $3,800. And the first night I used my cell phone. I have an app that converts like a picture into a PDF. So I took a picture of all the apps and I faxed it in that night, Monday night. And then on the second day, when I got back home in San Antonio, I faxed it in Tuesday night. So so then on Wednesday, then Thursday, I was already getting deposits. I think I already had $2,000 in my bank. And I was like, wow, man, I was so excited, right? And then Friday, I got like most of the rest of it. But I had made, I'm gonna say probably about 3 grand in commissions that week, and I was like, man, that was too easy, right? That'll work. Let me do it again, right? So I still had the same leads, and I called the following weekend on Saturday and Sunday, same routine, and I did that. And then once I worked through that batch of overflows, I just bought more and just kept doing it. So I started being successful, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to buy a car, right? So I bought this little hunker car for $700, and it was falling apart, man. And it was there was something wrong with like the bearings or I don't know, I'm not too good of mechanics, but it made this like really loud noise. I don't know. The faster you went, the louder it got, right? So it was a long 2.5 hour drive back and forth, right? Because all you hear is this loud noise. And I picked Richard up in that car. And I said, hey, Richard, man, you got to go with me. I'm making killer money. And he's looking at my car like, yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
And I was like, man, I got to show you. I got to show you I'll show you my deposits. You don't believe me, right? So I had to pull out my bank app and literally show him all my deposits. And I got his attention, right? He's like, all right, well, I'm off tomorrow. I'm going to go with you. So we went to Austin. This is our trip to Austin. He actually
So this picture, Jimmy, is at this point, Richard's not licensed. This is a picture of you taking him out to do like field training to show him what it's about.
Yep.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen this picture before.
And actually, you know what? I'm looking at the inside. This was not the Nissan. I guess so I bought a Camry next.
This
And
is the Toyota, right?
yeah, that's the Camry because the inside is all clean. That Nissan, the headliner was all like greased and stained, and yeah. So I guess I had already moved on to the Toyota, but I didn't have that Nissan very long. But anyway, so we go to Austin, and I had two preset appointments, right? So the first appointment was a no-show, right? And I said, okay, well, let's knock on a couple of doors, and then before we go to the second appointment. He says, okay. So, I can see in his eyes like, oh yeah, this don't work,
Yeah,
right?
like whatever. Yeah.
So then I go knock on a couple of doors, and then I catch one guy. He's at home, and like he lives in an apartment. Yeah, come on in. I remember mailing that in. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, yeah. We sit down, and I wrote him up, and I wrote a policy for his son who was like, I don't know, like barely maybe 18, right? And his dad was going to pay for it. So I did the calculation, and that one sale made me like $1,200, right? And
Sweet.
I showed Richard, and Richard's like, wow, man. He goes, we haven't even been in the field 2 hours. You already made $1,200. So his mind started spinning, right? And then we went to the next appointment, and I think we sat with them, but I didn't close it, right? So I only made the one sell. I didn't have any more appointments. So I was like, well, normally I door knock the rest of the way. He goes, hey man, I already seen enough. If you don't mind, can we go back to San Antonio? I have some things I want to do, and I definitely want to get signed up. Okay, great. So we called it a day. We ate lunch, and then we came home. And so Richard came on board, and his first I guess you can say, well, once he got licensed, right? While he was waiting for his license to come in, he went ahead and started the reoccurring order, and then
Working, right?
huh?
Like when he got his license, he was still working at AT&T, correct?
He was still working at AT&T.
Yeah. Okay.
And he started his order, and his leads hadn't come in, or rather, his license hadn't come in. He passed the exam and everything, but his license hadn't come in, and his leads started, hitting. And he was doing, I think he ordered 25 leads a week. That's what he started with. So by the time he actually got his license, he already had nearly 100 leads to work, right?
Wow.
So he used the same system. He'd call, and then he'd go door knock. and he could only do it on his day off. He says, Jimmy, I'm only going to commit 1 day a week, and the other day off I'm going to spend with my family. I said, okay. So those 4 1 days that he worked that first month, I think he made like 4 grand. And he's like, man, I made 4 grand working 1 day, and that's almost what I made the whole month at AT&T. You know, he goes, this is a no-brainer. So he took whatever vacation he had left. He worked that with us, and then he turned in his 2 weeks notice. And then Richard was a beast, right? Like he started off running, and the key to his success was, he wasn't scared to buy the leads. Like I said, he placed his first lead order before he even got his license, right?
Right.
As soon as he
That's
passed his
strong.
and at one point, Richard was buying, I'm going to say about 40 or 50 leads a week, A leads, right? And Richard was a beast. I think his first year he made, I don't know, like 140, 150 net, and then the second year was more than 200,000. He was doing extremely well. Now, here's what's cool about it is like the whole time after he quit, Richard and I talk daily, and we still do talk a lot. And in fact, he rents a room from us here in San Antonio, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, he always wanted to have this retail business, and he kept talking about this franchise over and over. I want to do this, I want to do that, and that's where his heart and desire was. He just didn't have the money to buy the franchise, you
Right.
know. And then during the height of or the peak of his career with Senior Solutions, he went through a very nasty divorce, and really, I mean, you know, I'm going to say financially, he got a very raw deal out of that divorce, right? But when it was all said and done, he kept working, and he was able to save up enough money selling final expense to purchase his franchise, which it cost him an initial investment of 100,000, and then on top of that, he also needed some operating capital, right? So he was able to do that, and he's done really well with that. So that's the reason why Richard's no longer with us, because he opened up that retail store, and now he's opening up his second retail store. So I mean, here's the cool thing is that Richard made a ton of money with us just by pure work ethic and following the system, and he did really well. Um, Before I continue, I don't know, Joe, if you had any questions or you wanted to kind of guide this a little bit where you want to go with these stories.
Well, the thing about it is what's to what's nice is that you know whether this business is going to be a stepping stone for you to move on to do something else. The point I think to really take home, yeah, Richard was an awesome producer. He's not with us anymore. He didn't quit Senior Solutions to join another IMO or do something else in the insurance business. But the final expense platform and Senior Solutions gave him the platform to be able to save up $100,000 in cash plus operating expenses to open up his dream franchise. Dude, he probably never would have been able to do that had he continued working at AT&T.
Oh yeah, no, that
You
would
know
have
what I
never.
mean? I mean, so whether whether or not what we're doing, the final expense is going to be your final destination, or maybe it's going to be a platform for you to branch off and do other things. It's a tremendous opportunity to be in business for yourself. Um, and I mean, man, just change your life.
And,
Um,
and and by the way, if you remember during that time, he also bought that car. It was a Nissan, what is it, GTO or something like
I
that?
don't know, dude. It was like a
It was a hundred and fifty
$100,000
thousand
car or
dollar
something.
sports car. It
Yeah.
was bad. Anyway, so I wanted to show this picture because this is 2018. So this is 3 years of door knocking right there from the previous picture. Show the previous. Go back to that.
You can tell, I mean, you're even skinnier, but look how thin you are compared, like, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. Like from this picture to this picture.
Yeah. So door knocking is not only good for your finances, but it's also good for your health.
Yeah, for sure. Anything, did you want to talk about this a little bit, this image?
Yeah, I have a story here, Joe. So at that time, we had this other young lady. Her name was Amina. She was a really, she turned out to be a beast, right? But before she became a beast, she was kind of a complainer, right? And
Yeah.
she she's like, Jimmy, these leads, they're in a bad neighborhood. Like they're like, this is very poor. Uh, I'm scared for my safety. And I was like, huh? I mean, I've been in some rough areas, but never like that bad, the way she really described it, right? So she sent me a picture. No, 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 she didn't send me a picture. She said, she wanted her money back, is what she said.
Yeah, I remember that.
I said, okay, well, let me go up to Houston and let me go check it out, right? So I picked up this other new agent we brought on at that time, Jose, and I said, hey, let's go work these leads and let's see what she's talking about, right? So if you're familiar with Houston, all these leads were in the Sugarland and Pearl, was it a Pearl area or something like that? But I know Sugarland's one of them, right?
Sugarland.
Pearland, Pearland or something like that.
Hmm.
Okay, Joe, these houses were nicer than my house, and I have a nice house. I was like, what the hell is she talking about? So I told Jose, I was like, man, this is money right here. We're gonna have a good day if these leads are in this neighborhood. Man, we killed it. I made so many sales. I don't even remember how much money I made, but like in one day I crushed it. Like I'm gonna say multiple thousands of dollars.
Hmm.
So um, I asked them, well, do you want to buy the leads? Hell yeah. So we gave Amina her money back, and Jose bought those leads, and he went on to work them. So then when we showed her all the sales that we made, she changed her mind, and the next batch of leads that came in, because she was on a reoccurring order, she went out and made a ton of sales, and she has the record, to my knowledge, the most with our organization in 1 week, which was $28,000 in final expense. Do you think that record still holds up, Joe, or no?
28,000 yeah, in a week.
In 1 week.
Yeah, that's the one where, didn't she have one sit where the family like invited her back to like a family
Yep.
reunion or barbecue or something? She made like 20 or 30 sales in one sit.
That's it. So I'm going to just tell that story real quick, and I know I'm kind of getting off track, but
That's all right, man. This is awesome stuff. We need to hear
so,
this, man. This is
so
relatable.
Amina, it was a Friday, and she had been calling me all day, door knocking. Nobody's home, or she finally got a hold of somebody, but they rejected her. Like she had a sucky ass day, right? And she called me at, I'm gonna say it was about 6:30. I told her to call me before the end of the day, right? So she calls me at 6:30, and she's all frustrated. She's hot. She said she's sweating. Humid is worse than San Antonio with humidity, right? So like she's had a bad day. She called me at 6:30, and I was like, man, this chick is still out there. I was already getting my drink on, on a Friday afternoon. So she goes, I got one more door. I'm gonna go to this last door, right? And Richard, same thing, would always say, man, one more, right? So like she went to her last door, and she knocked on that door about 7 o'clock. And I don't know where you're at, right? But in Houston, man, the leads are spread out. Like Houston's a huge territory, right? So it takes a while to get from one place to another place. But she got there at 7. She knocked on the door, and they took her in. This lady had a couple of guests that were in the house from out of town, right? So she calls me. She kept calling me. Uh, what about this? And how do you do that? And this and that, right? And I was like, man, it's already 8 o'clock. She's still there. It's 9 o'clock. She's still there. At 10 o'clock, she was going home, right? Well, at 10 o'clock, she left that house, I think, with 3 applications, but with an invite to Saturday's family reunion. That's why the lady had a couple of guests in from out of town. So she went to the family reunion. The lady introduced her to all the family. They, had a good time. She ate. She, hung out with them, and she sat with just about everybody there, one at a time. And she walked away with like a total of 21 applications, right? It was ridiculous. Plus the 3 that she got the night before, and then she had some more apps that she got throughout the rest of the week. But I mean, she just killed it. I mean, so there's just another story of like you just can't give up if you're having a bad day. Joe, I don't know about you, but I get agents. They're calling it quits at 3 o'clock because they're having a bad day. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
serious? So I mean, you just gotta get out there and door knock. And I'll just say this real quick. If you're in an area where you're having a hard time, people don't open the door. Like they're home, there's cars there, and you knock and you ring the doorbell. You can hear people inside and you can hear the feet shuffling, but they're not opening the door. You got to break out the vest, baby, because they'll open the door for that.
Yeah, man, you look like you're a utility worker.
That was the idea. So, they see that jacket, they're not sure, but they're not thinking you're selling insurance, right? So they open the
Right.
door. So again, if you're in an area that they're not home, and I mean they are home, but they're not opening the door, break out that vest. You'll see dramatic changes on how many people will at least open the door for you.
Awesome.
So
Awesome, dude. Well, we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this call. You've been talking for an hour now.
oh my God, okay.
But these are, I mean, honestly, I mean, this is what working final expense is all about, man. It's having that attitude is that no matter what, I'm not going to give up, and going out and quitting at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that ain't going to cut it, man. You got to go out and do it till the sun goes down, or until you always got to have that attitude, man. One more door, because dude, that next door you knock on, it might be worth $5,000 or $6,000. That may be that one sale, may be a door opener to a gateway of referrals. You just don't know. And trust me, Jimmy and I both know what it takes to do it. I personally know. I know how frustrating it is to get the phone hung up on me. I'm not interested. This is a ripoff. It's too much money. Don't ever call me again. Getting doors slammed, paying $30 for a lead, and people tell you, oh, I thought it was for something else. And you just got to remember, man, it's a numbers game. But at the end of the day, Jimmy, the numbers don't work unless you put the numbers in your favor. So you got to have enough people to go out there and see. And what I have found, me personally, the reason why I pretty much strictly only do direct mail leads is that I just I haven't figured it out, or I haven't seen agents who don't purchase leads ever able to get those numbers in their favor. They're never able to generate enough prospects where they can make double-digit sales per week. And honestly, guys, if you're going to make it in this business, if you really want to make a good income, where I'm talking about like 100,000 net, not 100,000 gross, but 100,000 net, man, you got to be close, somewhere close to double digit, like at least 7, 8, 9 sales a week. You're going to have those 1 weeks where you do 15 or 20, and you're going to have other weeks where you maybe only do 3. But at the end of the day, man, when you compile all your numbers and you look at your activity sheets, man, you got to have enough presentations where you're making 6 or 7 sales a week. So this has been a really good
Hey, Joe, before we wrap up, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to say this, when I first started, I bought those overflow leads because they were ready to go, and I worked them, and then I kept buying them until there was no more in Austin. I mean, in Corpus, right? And then I don't know if you remember this, Joe, but I called you and I was like, "Hey, Joe, I think I'm gonna be out of business for a while." And he's like, "Why?" I go, "There's no more leads in Corpus." He's like, "What? You're not on a reoccurring order?" Like, no, what's that? Like, I totally forgot what a reoccurring order was, right? So, um, and then I think you had told Tim Winders. So Tim calls me and he goes, "Hey, I got a deal for you, man. We got some leads, some overflow leads in Austin, and I'll make a deal if you buy, this many. We'll discount them and get them for this." I'm like, okay. So, and I went to Austin, and then for me, okay, this is for me, but I highly recommend it. Right? Is I did road trips. I didn't even work San Antonio or go on a reoccurring order for at least 2 years, might have been longer. All I did was go to where the leads were at. I've been to Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Amarillo. I've been to Waco, Killeen, Temple, um, you know, down in the valley. I've been all over Texas. Um, Working overflow leads. And the reason why I really like this is because it puts work ethic where it should be. You're not distracted with those daily challenges of honeydews, or maybe
Right.
you're having a bad day and you want to go home early. When you're working out of town, you ain't got nothing to do but keep on working, right? So my model was I was working until the sun went down. So in the summer I would work up until 9 o'clock. In the winter, maybe I was quitting about 6:30, right? So I would work until the sun went down. And when you have that kind of work ethic, you're going to do well. Now, here's what I want to tell everybody that's out there. You don't, like we started off, you don't land on top of the mountain, right? Well, if you've been in this business a while and you're struggling, my guess is you're not on a reoccurring 8 lead order. And that's going to solve your problems right there. Because really and truly, you need a constant flow of fresh leads so that you can stay productive. When you buy fresh leads and then you don't have any more fresh ones that come in, and you keep working those same old leads, you start getting like in this mental rut. You start getting an attitude, you get down. Trust me, I've been there, right? You gotta work those fresh leads. You want to get to the point to where you have about 100 leads owed to you. So if they drop 50 on you, and they only owe you 50, you need to up that order. You really, this is ideal. You want to have about 100 leads owed to you at all times. And when you have 100 leads owed to you and you got a constant flow of leads coming in, you're gonna always rock it. That's one thing. The second thing I want to say, Joe, about leads is you got to prospect correctly. I've seen too many agents that they either just only call and work the appointments that are set over the phone, right? Or they don't even do that. They have somebody else call for them, right? And maybe they have a family member call, or
Yeah.
maybe they hire an appointment setter. I mean, trust me, guys, I've been there too. I had appointment setters, several, right? But what happens is appointment setters will be good when they first start because it's new to them, and then for some reason they fall in a rut and they don't do good no more, right? But the problem with putting the appointment setter, whether you're paying a professional or you're paying somebody close to you, family member wise, the problem is that you're putting the success of your business, it's your business, into somebody else's hands, because it starts with prospecting. You got to make those calls yourself. And then you have to door knock everybody that you didn't book on the phone. And that means even the ones that rejected you over the phone. They answered, you said your pitch, and they rejected you. You go door knock them anyway. If you want to be good at this business, you got to be a good door knocker, right? And to be a good door knocker, that means you got to get out of the house early. You got to be leaving that house about 7:30 in the morning, knocking on the first door about 8 o'clock. That'll make you a good door knocker. And then you don't come home until the sun goes down, or maybe, 5 or 6. But if you write yourself a schedule and you're out door knocking consistently every day, and that's the rule, and every now and then maybe you have an exception because you have a doctor's appointment or something, that's going to make you successful, rather than letting activities like doctor's appointments and school events and different things come up. That be the rule, and then you door knock whatever time you have left after that. No, you're not going to be successful. So the secret is getting out there and prospecting yourself. Now, just to let you know, like, if you're ordering a ton of leads, like 40, 50 leads a week, if you're at that level, then yes, you're hiring an appointment setter to help you, right? But they're not replacing all your efforts. So let me just throw that out there. So if you're buying a high level of leads on a weekly basis, then yeah, it does make sense to get an appointment setter. But again, you don't want to rely on them. So I know, Joe, I went way over, but I just wanted to throw that in there to give some really good content for the end of this meeting.
Yeah, and that was amazing. Let me just add a couple of things. Number one, just to echo on what you said, nobody needs an appointment setter. And like what Jimmy said, unless you got so many leads, you can't handle them yourself, which means you're probably over like 25, 30, 40 leads a week. If you're just doing one-time orders, or you're on a 20 a week, man, you got no business hiring an appointment setter. You need to do 100% of the prospecting yourself. The other thing I just want to echo, you're talking about doing road trips. Guys, I've been licensed since 2009. So whatever year you're watching this video, you can do the math on how many years I've been in the business. I have never worked leads in my home county. I have always gone away. My first 5 years in the business, I 100% worked out of state. Drove out of state to a different state to work. Now, fortunately, I didn't have to, I did road trips too, but I live in Illinois. First 5 years, I worked in Indiana, and I also did road trips down to Ohio too, down close to Cincinnati. Well, I did like the Dayton area and then Cincinnati, which are both about 5 or 6 hours away from where I live. And even most recently, when I've been working leads, I order leads in a county that's away from where I live, because I don't want to be close to home, because it's too tempting that if the phone rings or whatever. That's why I said, and Jimmy, we were talking about, and we'll get into it next week, about expense reports and mileage. And I said, dude, and I gave out the number 500 miles a week, and you're like, oh, that's too high. Guess how many? I clocked my miles yesterday. Guess how many miles I drove?
How many?
Just almost 100. I ended up with like 97 miles for the day.
Nice.
So my point is, you do that every day, 5 days a week. That's 500 miles. That's 500 miles a week. So I mean, my first appointment. Well, first of all, I didn't even have any appointments. I just went out and door knocked. I felt like I didn't have enough leads. I only got 8 leads in initially. I just want to go out and that's enough leads. I can go out and door knock and really exhaust all the leads. But my first appointment when I plugged it in, it was like, I don't know, 30 or 40 miles, but because of traffic, my navigation said it was going to take me a little bit over an hour away. So my first scheduled door knock was over an hour away from my house. The benefit of that is that when I'm an hour away, my phone rings, dude. I mean, like, I'm not working. Like, I'm not going to drive an hour to come back. Like, hey, babe, I'm all the way up in Carpentersville. I'm an hour and a half away from home, man. You got to figure it out yourself. The other thing is that um, the last comment I want to say about you're talking about, having leads owed to you. Guys, the great thing about this new lead vendor that we've got, when you go on your reoccurring order, you're not paying for those, hundreds of, leads out of pocket before they get to you. You're paying for the leads as they come in. The other benefit is that and I just found this out, is that they give you 30 days to pay for the leads. So as an example, if you're on a reoccurring order and you get a big batch of leads that come in, let's say, 30 or 40 leads come into your portal, and you're like, well, I don't want to work all of them right now. You can just purchase, as an example, you can purchase 10 of them. Purchase those 10 leads, go make some sales, have money deposited in your bank account, then purchase 10 more. They give you time to be able to purchase those leads. They don't automatically hit your credit card as soon as the leads come in. So that's another tremendous benefit. So as we sign off, if you are interested or you want to get going on that recurring order with our new lead vendor, get in touch with me. I'll make sure I'll get you in touch with the vendor. We'll get your account set up. This way you can get your lead started. But guys, it's been a great call. This has been great content. Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to do Making Final Expense Great Again, part 2. Okay?
Awesome.
All right, Jimmy. Awesome content, dude. This is I just feel like this is, for me, very inspirational. I'm motivated. I'm ready to go out and work the rest of my leads now.
Hey, Joe, and if I could plug a preview of next week, we're going to talk about, on the business side, tax strategies. We're going to talk about, a little bit about how to run your business, let's say from the office perspective.
Yeah.
And some really good, I guess you can say, like, opportunities that you have for yourself to save money. So, but anyway, we'll end it with that, right?
All right, man. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, take care.
Awesome call, brother. All right, everybody. Take care. God bless. If you need anything, give me a call. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.